In healthcare, often we feel like there are many researchers, many innovations, but how many of us are actually able to keep up with all of it? And as clinicians, we are constantly driving, moving, and seeing patients, figuring out what's wrong with them, and then making sure we're delivering the proper care. However, with technology, with the information overload at some point, we don't really know all the things we need to know and to be able to keep it up. And therefore, today we have an amazing speaker, Dr. HJ, here with us to share with you what is a great integrated marketing solution coming from both pharmaceutical organizations and connecting directly to physicians for them to have a better way to receive information. Can't wait to get started.
Welcome to Health Tech Growth, the weekly podcast for healthcare founders and innovators, where we explore essential strategies to create successful and sustainable healthcare startups that improve patient outcomes and transform the healthcare industry.
Hi, Dr. HJ. He is amazing founder and global CEO of Doceree, the first global network of physician-only platforms for programmatic marketing. And this software and platform is aimed to address the acute problems of rising costs of healthcare by bridging in efficiency and effectiveness in marketing to physicians by pharma brands on digital platform with methodical use of data and creativity. And he definitely had many awards around digital health within India, and one shows the first best of discipline award, and he has been found as 40 under 40 APAC marketing communication achiever back in 2017. So we can't say all the amazing things, so we'll let him share a little bit with you. So hi, please, I love to welcome you to our show. And I think everyone's journey changes. And for you, you also have that medical background. So at what point you feel like, oh my goodness, communication is actually a biggest barrier that we have in the healthcare space, and then we need to be able to share the information properly. And sometimes, right, when we're thinking about marketing, people are not understand what that even represents.
Hi, Sabrina. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this show. And for me, it was serendipity. It just happened. Right? I did my grad school, med school from India, then moved to US for doing my residency. And then I realized this is not what I want to do, because I thought if I continue to practice, maybe my brain neurons will atrophy because I was doing so much at spinal level, right? So I decided to quit medicine without knowing what will I do, but I did quit. And then I was part of two startups, first in the health tech and big data space, and second in the healthcare communication space, right? And did well, then got decent exits, and then spent a long time in healthcare advertising. Worked with one of the large advertising agencies. I think those about 10 years where I worked in healthcare communication, I realized the power of healthcare communication in changing people's behaviors, right? And how strong that kind of tool can be, and how underutilized it is in healthcare, where it is so hard to change behaviors.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing. We're shifting from reactive medicine to proactive medicine, but that's a behavior shift from, hey, once you feel the sickness symptoms, come see us, to how can we proactively help the patient identify sooner, live healthier, having more longevity, and slow down the disease. But as you're saying, we all know behavior change is so difficult. And even when I was doing my public health master, going to community, figure out what they need, right? And sometimes don't even know what they're troubling with, right? And they think they have this one concern, but has nothing to do with what they really need, right? And that's the challenge you are facing. So you're able to leverage that part of your interest in medicine, shifting into communication, advertisement, and to say, what is the message that we need to bring to people so they can become more aware? And we all know marketing, you need at least 7 to 8 touch points before people actually start buying into the idea to say, oh, yeah, that sounds like me. That sounds like my patient. That sounds like something I need to dive deeper. So tell us a little bit more about the platform. How do people get this information? How do they get the right match?
Yeah, great. See, as I was describing, right, I first worked on developing the right communication, right, the messaging in my advertising days, and then did well, got a good exposure of working with most of the large pharmaceutical companies, did some amazing work, right? But then the realization that the channel which you use to communicate the right message is so important, right? And how this category of the healthcare professional patient, it is lacking. I did research to find out like what's really happening there, and found that most of the technology platforms that are available for pharmaceutical messaging to healthcare professionals is only in the top of the funnel, right? Whether it is advertising on social or non-endemic messaging or text message, email, right? Events, everything was happening in the top of the funnel, right? Now, journey from that top of the funnel to make a physician aware to actually getting a script is very long and tortuous. But as you move from top to the middle, right, where a physician would be researching about that drug, therapy, trial, or a diagnostic, is scattered. Like that's the journal, that's the world of endemic journals, right? Could be a journal from Springer Nature or British Medical Journal, right? Or Walters Kluwer or Wiley. Could be any of those 1,000 thousands of journals, right? It's scattered. A brand is expected to go to them to make them a part of the journey, right? Why? But they can't target, they can't connect those journeys, right? And then after a physician has done research, he looks for those opportunities to write a script, right? Now a physician has to make those, remember those drugs at the right time, right? That's where we use technology, where electronic health records come in. The adoption of electronic health records, electronic prescribing systems, telehealth platforms have been growing rapidly, not just in US but across the world. But advertising there or doing some targeted messaging there wasn't possible. And this is what, as Doceree, our platform helps a pharmaceutical company in doing hyper targeted messaging on endemic and point of care platforms, so that you're able to take a physician user down the conversion funnel in a seamless manner.
Right, you're cutting down the amount of touch points, and also we're able to funnel for people who actually are looking for this information and not do a reverse way of just big everybody trying to get anybody out there, right? If we're going for mass media type of what you mentioned, social media, or even advertising on, let's say, Medscape or other platform, people are looking for information, then you start to narrow down a little. But what if we can connect people immediately at the platform that they are already using to make these decisions, to explore, and for you guys is be able to tap into different EHR system. Are you able to connect with all major EHR systems since there are so many of them, or you guys have been focusing on some of the bigger ones?
So our network is growing. Currently, we have direct integrations with about 150 point of care platforms. And through that, we are able to access about 800,000 physicians in the United States, which is a significant reach. And we have seen brands benefiting from it a lot, right? And brands, when they start using it and they realize the importance of these channels, they are just prioritizing more and more of their investment on these targeted channels.
And which type of brand do you see that has been working better than others?
it's interesting that we have case studies to see brands across the product life cycle, right? Whether starting from the early launch stage or even the pre-launch stage to create awareness, to even mature brands where it doesn't make sense for a sales rep to call on that physician, right? To make them completely digital brands. So we see used cases for brands across the product life cycle.
Okay, that's great. And then do you feel like most of these products are physical product, like you're saying a drug, or it's kind of a go across the board from service type, end user, and interoperability, since there are so many different type of innovations out there?
Great question, right? So it's across, right? Could be a pharmaceutical drug, could be a digital therapeutic drug, right? Could be a diagnostic, could be a clinical trial for which patients are being recruited, could be a patient affordability program, right? For which a doctor needs to know so that he can communicate to the patient. The use cases are endless. It's the patented technology that we develop which we are applying to different use cases across the pharmaceutical industry.
Great. So you're really giving that diversity of usability and then be very specific, intentional about how they are targeting the right clinicians, because we also know there are a lot of our clients and supporters were in that fintech women's health domain. And then, of course, those are better targeted for your OBGYNs, family practice, than all the other subspecialty that doesn't quite have the relatable clientele. So the more that we can niche down and have that intentional communication, the better it is. So I know it's been great celebrating and you guys, and then seeing all the possibilities what you can do in that new marketing within the healthcare space. Now, we all know there's the ups and downs in healthcare, right? Running a business, and you've done so well exiting two and having this one. So if we give you a magic wand, and that when you wave the magic wand that solves three major problems, what would you want it to use them for?
Oh, that's a difficult question, right? Uh, so I believe in people, right? So my first one would be right uh, to get specialized people, right, to grow this category, right? Most important for creating any business, we don't believe in shortcuts. Like I don't want magic wand to create money for me, right? We want to make money by solving a customer's problem, which we believe, which we are solving through our technology, right? So first is people, right? Specialized, talented people, because we are a very niche category, right? Second is like in US, our adoption is growing very fast, right? But while we go outside of US, there is a learning curve because the adoption of digital is growing. So we are spending a lot of our time and energy in educating the market, in growing the category, right? I think some awareness in those markets could benefit a lot, and not to benefit adoption of our technology, but to address this growing problem of cost of healthcare, right? We believe that if we can make marketing efficient, right, this can impact the growing cost of healthcare, which is making it unaffordable for most people, right? And third is so we solved for people, we solved for awareness, right? Third would be to bring it all together and make it happen.
Oh, yes. I think you're hitting definitely on the nail. We always believe human capital is number one, and then it's cultural capital, right? And if we don't understand the leadership, the who we are connecting with, the true people that with the right intention, the right collaborative mindset, it's really difficult to do anything. And we have to adapt that top down to the entire culture of the company or the community. And that even triggers to your second point, what we believe is your social capital. How are we actively expanding our network? Whether it is like you guys doing great in the US, let's expand globally even further. Now, each country has their own culture and their own medical system, their own perception of how to carry out. So then learning that, be able to have the right conversation with the key stakeholder in each country, it becomes even more important. So as you're saying, to combine all of those. And I think a lot of companies are not seeing those key points when they are building, right? And I think a lot of people thinking about marketing and sales is just get more things out there. They're playing the numbers game instead of the relationship is where they need to focus a lot of time on. And relationship can only build on people that have the right belief system, the right mission, and the self-motivation. So love the three things that you brought up. As we are wrapping up today, what would you think is one major takeaway that you want the audience to hear? And also think us as your support system, right? And then we love to support in our community. What is the one specific ask or advices that you want from the community?
Yeah. So I think from the health tech community, right, I think my recommendation, right, would be to kind of focus your energies, to prioritize your core business, right? If you are an electronic health record platform or electronic prescribing platform, but to keep an eye open for innovations and how to do things differently. Because ultimately, when you are in any audience-based business, right, it's the engagement which matters. It may or may not be directly linked to your revenue, but it's the engagement of the audience that matters the most, right? Like for our business, engagement with pharmaceutical audience matters, right? For an health IT platform, it's the engagement with their audience, which is the healthcare professionals, that matters.
Great. And what would be one ask you like to have the community to support you with?
Please come and talk to us. How can we help engage your healthcare professional audience better?
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sure we'll have all your contact information in the show note, or go directly to LinkedIn and reach out to them. Go to the company's website and have a conversation on how do you leverage technology platform to target and communicate directly to the physicians that really need to hear about your product and services. And we appreciate everything that we have shared and grown. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Health Tech Growth. If you're a healthcare tech innovator or founder interested in being a featured guest on our show, visit healthtechgrowth.io to learn more.